An Italian visual artist recently sold an invisible sculpture for over $18,000. In other words, an artist sold something that doesn't exist for real money. This man, Salvatore Garau, is the biggest, coldest art gangster I have seen in my entire life. I mean, just look at him. He looks like he could be a villain in all the old Chuck Norris movies I watched as a kid. This man must have a huge pair on him to literally sell air to someone for $18,000. It takes balls. It takes big cojones to pull a move like that and go scot-free. Salvatore Garau, a 67-year-old Italian artist, auctioned an immaterial sculpture, as the artwork does not exist, for $18,300 titled Lo Sogno, which translates to I am. The work finds significance in its nothingness, as the vacuum is nothing more than a space full of energy, and even if we empty it and there is nothing left, according to the Heisenberg uncertainty principle, that nothing has a weight. Therefore, it has energy that is condensed and transformed into particles that is into us. This man just sold space. This man literally sold an empty room full of nothing. This man walked into a room, looked around and said, okay, so from here to here is highly classified. There's an invisible sculpture there. You can't see it, but it's there. You just have to feel the energy, Vincenzo, the energy. Mamma mia, where's my spaghetti? What is this world turning into? Mr. Salvatore Garau is an Italian contemporary painter and sculptor, and according to the info on his Wikipedia page, he was formerly a drummer in a rock group, but later found out his calling was to make art and bless the world with his beautiful paintings and never before seen sculpture. Literally. He has been making paintings since the 80s and has participated in a number of exhibitions during his career. And he even has some of his paintings in museums and art galleries, some of which are in Italy, which is really impressive. Most of his abstract paintings are quite impressive and can provoke thoughts only the artist himself can properly explain, which is kind of the whole point of abstract painting anyway. His most recent work of art, which has blown the minds of everyone who thought they saw it, and I'm probably sure they described it to their friends as a conceptual and highly outstanding piece of art that is contemporary and innovative to modern art. Wow. And I'm sure you might probably be wondering why I'm dressed like this for this video. Well, it's because of this particular occasion, since we are apparently going into a modern contemporary art gallery to witness this fine piece of art. So I decided to dress for the occasion. The drip is kind of fire. I mean, check out the braids, man. The drip is fire. The drip is fire. Now let's take a look at this impeccable piece of art.
Check this out.
If you're looking at your screen right now and can't see anything, just wait for it. Don't try to see with your eyes, but feel with your mind. Feel the presence, the energy from this magnificent, Renaissance-looking piece of fine art sculpture that was made by my... Okay, this is not working. No, this is not working. There is nothing in that room. I mean, I tried to see and feel like how the artist said, but nah, there is nothing in that room. That room is empty. There's another image on Google where the invisible sculpture was apparently mounted on a stand, and this just makes the entire situation extra foolish. According to him, it's a work that asks you to activate the power of the imagination. You don't see it, but it exists. It is made of air and spirit. What really bothers me is everyone else who was in the gallery during the exhibition and looking at the invisible sculpture and agreeing they could see it. So no one in their right senses could just call him out during the exhibition, or was everyone just in with the joke from the start? And apparently Salvatore installed another sculpture, and this piece is referred to as Garau's third invisible masterpiece this year. What's the point of drawing anymore when we can just make invisible art and it instantly becomes a masterpiece? In February, he installed an invisible sculpture titled Buddha in Contemplations in Milan, and the piece is marked by a square of tape on a cobblestone street. It is a work that asks you to activate the power of the imagination, a power that anyone has, even those who don't believe they have it. What is this guy using to convince these people that there's a sculpture there? Usually when people joke about things like this, they eventually reveal it as a joke after all the laughs. But this man is legitimately serious about this invisible sculpture, and he's busy making a video in all seriousness while smiling to the bank to cash his checks. Rather than invisible sculptures, I will define them as immaterial sculptures. My fantasy, trained for a lifetime to feel differently the existing around me, allows me to see what apparently does not exist. Okay, that makes sense. So indirectly, he's saying he's like Ichigo, where he can see and feel like demon spirits, and only those who are born with the gift can see and feel them too, right? Fair enough. Now, I know the most important question on everyone's mind will be, how do you go about selling an invisible artwork? And also, who on earth is going to buy it, right? Well, according to this article, how do you sell an invisible sculpture on the Disserate News, if that's how you pronounce it, Artright Auction House in Milan handled the sale of the artwork. After a hard-fought auction, the piece was sold for $18,300. The auction house estimated the value of the piece to be between $7,000 and $11,000. The buyer will receive a certificate of authenticity validating the existence of the sculpture and instructions for its installation. Losogno must be exhibited in a private house with a 5-foot by 5-foot space free from any obstructions. This is exactly what the artist instructed. It says the piece does not need artificial lighting or climate control, and it must be installed in a 5 by 5 free space, not 6 by 5, because the top would fit. You might be obstructing something on top. Not 6 by 5. It has to be 5 by 5. Perfect. How do people get away with things like this and make tons of money off of it? So you mean to tell me a bunch of people gathered in a room wearing suits and just started bidding for an invisible sculpture that does not exist? I mean, this is so easy. Literally anyone can do this. Watch. Okay, this is a step-by-step tutorial on how to sell invisible art and make thousands of dollars in 2021. All those things you heard about passion and putting in hard work and following your dreams, absolute nonsense. We left all those in 2019 before the pandemic. The year is 2021 now, and anyone can become anything you want. You just have to believe it, and then you can achieve it. Gandhi said that. Alright, step 1. Think of an idea. This is the most important part of building your masterpiece. You see, if you don't have a solid idea that can convince yourself, then there's absolutely no point it's going to convince other people. So first, you need to think of what type of medium your imaginary art is going to be. Is it going to be painting or sculpture or mixed media or colored pencils or watercolor? Think of an idea, an image that fits perfectly within the designated space you have chosen for it, and then refine and polish the details of your thoughts. Step 2. Find a suitable art gallery to display your incredible work. You have spent so much time working on this, so now it's time to show your talent to the world. Step 3, and probably the most important step, find a rich person. You see, rich people move differently than the rest of us, and the way they spend their money is quite rather luxurious. You can literally sell rich people the most basic, mundane item and place an insanely ridiculous price tag on it, and rich people will buy it just to get the clout that comes with making such a purchase. Step 4, make some noise on social media. So you see, your plan is not complete if you haven't gone viral after doing the not so impossible, which is separating a rich man from his money. So use some of your profit to get some good publicity for yourself so you can go viral and then repeat the entire process from step 1. And that's it. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Now go out there and make your invisible masterpieces and prosper. Shut your Now, since this is the first time I've heard of people making invisible art and selling them, I decided to do a little digging and see if anything like this has been done before, and just to see if Salvatore, wait, I've been saying Salvatore, is it Salvatore or Salvatore? I don't even know. Please correct me in the comment section if I've been pronouncing this wrong. I did some research to see if Salvatore is the first invisible artist of his kind, or maybe there are other invisible artists with hidden gifts and talents like him. And oddly enough, I found another imaginary artist called Lana Newstrom, who also supposedly held an imaginary exhibition back in 2014 and found herself on the news as well. Art is about imagination, and that is what my work demands of the people interacting with it. You have to imagine a painting or sculpture is in front of you. What baffles me the most is the amount of confidence these artists have to keep on telling people that they have to use their imagination to think and feel the presence of this supreme art form that's sitting right in front of them. Although many articles claim Lana's show was just a big joke on the art collector industry, and some other sources even labeled it as fake news. But the idea of exhibiting and selling fake invisible art is just absolutely ridiculous. So who do we even trust at this point? The most amusing aspect of the story is the image of snobby art collectors walking through an empty studio, seriously staring at blank walls. Some of the art aficionados actually stop and soak in the lack of art that is not hanging on the blank wall. If you're some artsy-fartsy idiot paying money for invisible art, you gotta kill yourself. Imagine paying someone $1 million for some Emperor's New Clothes shit. Imagine having so much money that you could just literally walk into an art gallery, pay for nothing, collect a receipt for buying nothing, and just be on your way without even flinching. I wish that was me, to be honest. I'll say one of the main reasons why rich people spend so much money on art and collecting paintings is probably for investing in that particular painting or just the name of the artist, especially if the artist is very, very popular. Which is why all of the people who bought or just managed to own paintings of the old masters and really high-level Renaissance artists later got to auction some of those paintings and made millions and millions of dollars. And other times, rich people may just buy an expensive painting just to own it and show it off to their friends and other rich people. And I think it's just a way of showing their friends that, hey, I may be richer than you since I bought this $700 million painting and you're still there struggling to buy that $200 million painting. Haha, I'm richer than you, hey. So sometimes they just tend to buy super expensive paintings and just use that to show off how wealthy they are. Although I may be wrong, but you're free to debate that in the comments, I guess. And then sometimes some rich people just buy paintings because they actually like paintings and they just love that particular image. Anyway, the person who bought the $18,000 invisible sculpture has still not been revealed to the public. So as of this point, the buyer is still unknown. So right now we have no idea where this invisible sculpture has been moved to, but I'm sure it's in pretty good hands. Many articles label this entire situation as just laughable and absolutely ridiculous, while others just question the authenticity and credibility of selling invisible art. In this article, the writer Eli Federman describes the transaction as dishonest and deeply troubling. Auction houses should not allow people to sell something that does not exist, which I honestly agree with, since you cannot see or touch what you're buying, and since buying, as defined, is the acquisition of goods and services in exchange for a certain amount of money. But in this instance, there is no good or service being exchanged here, so it's highly just dubious and fraudulent, to say the least. Auction houses should consider adopting policies similar to eBay, prohibiting the sale of intangible items or anything a buyer can't confirm that they've received. You can't confirm receiving something invisible that doesn't actually exist. He's absolutely right. But I'm sure that won't even be listened to by any auction house or art gallery, since they have to make money in their own way and the art collectors have to make money as well. So this will probably just keep on happening. Some comments under the article also dismissed the sculpture and even insinuated that it was a play all along, which we are yet to see any tangible proof of anyway. It was a scam. The buyer was a friend. It was a joke on the art community. I'm really suspicious that he got a friend to buy it just to gain attention. I looked up the artist's past sales. He is an established artist who sold a couple of pieces, but he's never sold anything for nearly this high a price. Art prices can be illogical, but it's hard to believe an artist who's not particularly popular will be able to pull this off. Now, the funniest part about all this is, while everyone was just busy pondering about the existence of this invisible sculpture, a man in Florida is literally suing Salvatore and claiming he made the invisible sculpture first. The Florida-based performance artist named Tom Miller says that he installed his own invisible sculpture in B.O. Deadly Community Plaza in the state city of Gainesville back in 2016, aptly titled Nothing. The piece was assembled over 5 days with builders installing blocks of air. All I can say personally is that nothing is very important to me. I should be credited with nothing, specifically the idea of nothing fashioned into sculpture form. And Gainesville, Florida, not Italy, is where nothing happened first. When I saw Garu's work, I thought, well, that's exactly my idea. I simply wanted that attribution. I contacted him, he dismissed it away, and then I hired an Italian attorney. As you can see, apparently the way to make tons of money in art with the least amount of stress is to just make nothing and sell it for something. So with that being said, let me introduce you to the most recent painting that I've been making. It has cost me an endless amount of time and I've spent months just making this painting. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you... Is this sitting right? Yeah. I hope you guys can see it. Yeah, it looks really good. I spent a lot of time working on this. I literally had to spend weeks just not sleeping so I could finish this painting. But yeah, it is. Bidding starts from $50,000. Anyways, I'm glad you all stuck around to the end of the video. If you enjoyed the video, please leave it a like, subscribe to my channel if you're new here. And if you enjoyed the videos and want to support the channel, you can always buy me a coffee using the link in the description. With that being said, I will see you in the next video. Peace.